Happy Monday, everybody. We got a leg day today, lower body strength and core today. So let's get into it, starting off with a warm-up for our workout today. I'm going to be using this chair right here. So we're going to be doing some split squats as well as some hip thrusts off of there. Of course, I have options if you do not have a chair like this. And then I have my dumbbells and my glute bands snuck underneath the chair there that I will be using as well. Besides that, we just need a body, and we're going to start off with our warm-up down on the floor with our 90-90s. So you guys can come join me down here in this position where we have both our knees at 90 degrees. Bottom of the foot is in line with the shin, and we're going to see how we feel sitting right into this one. Seeing if we can sit upright, but if you're not feeling so comfortable, you can lean back and put your hands on the floor. We're going to flip the legs right and left, trying to keep the heels in place. And we'll do 10 of these total. Again, seeing if eventually we can get both of our hips, both of our butt cheeks on the floor, and maybe eventually our hands off the floor. But again, if it does not feel so good, if you're still kind of warming up, feels kind of tight, you can lean back so that you're feeling comfortable, okay? Because it should not be painful, especially because we're going right into this one. So we're going through 10 of these, and then we're going to lay onto our back for the next one and open up our spine, our lower back, our hips by extending our legs out and like literally just laying on our back. We'll lift up one leg, grab that knee with opposite hand. With a big exhale, we'll bring it all the way over and try to touch it down to the floor. Not spending any time, we'll come back up and do that 10 times total, 5 per side. And I actually don't quite have enough room to do this over here. Just gonna scooch it a little bit. You might have to as well. And we'll go through 10 of these, 5 per side. So I'm alternating, trying to really use my exhale to send this leg over, get a nice opening through my low back and hip. And we're just working with whatever range that we have. It's a little bit cut off there, that's okay. All right, so we'll go through 10 and 10. Again, trying to open up the back. You should feel lots of stretching. This one feels actually very nice. Should not be anything. Okay, so we'll go through those, and then you are standing up for the next one. Now this one is a little bit different, but we've done lots of stuff with the same focus. I'm just going to let one more in here. So you guys can come join me in a shoulder width stance, so hip width stance in our feet. We're going to hinge our hips, so we have soft knees. We'll push our hips back into this hinge position, extend our arms out in front of us, and then one arm is going to reach and rotate, following that hand with the eyes. Coming back to center here, we'll do that on the other side, and we're going through 20 of these total, trying to avoid movement in our legs and our hips. We're just moving through this part and the upper back. So we're trying to open up, keeping this arm and hand still, and we'll go through 20 of these. I have to make my space so I don't hit the wall. And so we'll go through those, opening up again. It's another one to really loosen up that back, the mid-back, pretty much the entire back. But it's very important that you don't move your butt and your legs, or else you are most likely not moving through your back. So we'll get 20 of those, 10 per side. There they are. And as you go through them, you might find they get a little bit more comfortable and kind of exhale, get deeper into them. All right. Okay, so the next one, as you come to an end, we are going to bring ourselves to the very front of this mat. This plant is in my space today. Okay, so we're going front of the mat, hands beside us. We'll step back into a lunge, send both of our arms over our head, and we're going through 20 of these guys now, alternating legs, right side, left side. No turning, we're just extending those arms up, keeping them straight. Woohoo! Okay, so again, reaching those arms above our head, alternating legs, right side, left side, getting that nice opening stretch through the front of the hip as we reach those arms up. And we'll go through 20 of those total, 10 per side. We got it. There they are. Good job, you guys. So straight arms, try and keep them as straight as possible on these ones. Reaching them up. Okay, so we got 2 more in this warm-up right here. This next one is a little combination move. We're going to get some mobility work for the inner thighs and some activation work for our butt and our glutes and our hips. What you need to do is find something to hold on to. So I'm going to use my wall here. You can also use a chair or something that is stable that you can hold on to, okay, because we don't want to be thinking about balance here. That's not the focus on this one. The side that I'm holding, I'm going to stand on the other leg. So I'm standing on my right side, and I'm holding with my left arm. I'm going to go into a single leg deadlift. So we have the soft knee. We're going to hinge our hips back, and then we'll open up our hips towards the wall. Feel a bit of a stretch in that inner thigh. Close the hips, and then stand up into that deadlift. That's 1, and we're doing 10 per side. So again, hinge the hips back. We'll open up towards the wall, close, and then stand. That's 2, and we will go through 10 of those. I'm trying to add Bobby in here. She's having some technical difficulties as per usual. Zoom seems to always give us those. Okay, so again, we're opening up towards the wall, closing, and then using the glute to stand ourselves up to the top. Come on in. So we're wanting to hold on to something. Soft knee, coming down, then opening up the hip, or you can even think about turning that bottom foot towards the wall, feeling the stretch, closing, okay, 10 of those. So we'll do that on both sides. You got it, right side and left side. Little combination and move. So again, with any time we're working into these more dynamic stretches, these stretches where we're not really holding them, we're just kind of moving into them, they should feel comfortable, okay? You should feel that tension, but it shouldn't feel painful. So if you're doing this, like you're opening up and it feels like it's too much stretch, then do something to not make that happen. Try to avoid that overstretching, because we just want to go until we feel that tight feeling and then ease out of it. And that looks different for all of us. So last one we're going to do is all about getting your core and ab muscles ready to go for all these leg movements that we're going to do. So this last one is going to take place on the floor on our back in a dead bug position. The dead bugs. So we're going to do 2 variations of dead bugs. The first one is our standard coordination testing dead bug, where we have our legs up and our arms up. Our low back is tight to the floor, and that is crucial. So make that happen. First one we're going to do is lower opposite arm and opposite leg. So I'm lowering my left arm, my right leg. You can straighten out your legs or keep them bent, but you have to keep your back down. So whatever makes you more successful at keeping that back down, that is good. We'll go through 20 of these total, 10 per side. Now you'll note that I'm not moving these 2 limbs. I'm moving 2, the other 2 stay completely still. That's that coordination, okay? So make sure that you are doing that. It can be totally easier said than done. You're going to feel like you want to move everything. So we'll try to keep it as still as possible. Once you're done 20 of those, 10 per side, we're going into that paused one, and we're going to complete 10 more per side. And then you shall be very warm and very active in your core. So we'll get these ones going on now, these pressure dead bugs, where I'm pushing my knee and my palm together to create that pressure. Back is so tight. And then same situation with the leg. You want to straighten it, or I like keeping it bent, because if I straighten it, I typically will lose my back, and that is a problem in this one. We're going to keep that tight. So 20 alternating ones, and then 10 of our pause ones per side, and then we're going to start you guys up with our first exercises. First one, I should say. There it is. So all about the core, the abs, feeling active up in there. Once you guys are done, you can stand yourself up and grab some water if you would like. We are going to get you started on the first exercise, and we are channeling what we did last week. We're following the same start to our workout where we started with strictly just doing split squats. So we're doing the same thing today. We're going to get these guys done, working through split squats, just doing them right side, left side, specific amount of reps. We're doing something a little different today. We will be using weights and or equipment. So if you guys have your dumbbells or your loop bands, I will be giving you the options on incorporating those in there. We're going to start off our first set completely body weight and just kind of test out what we're doing here today. Last week we worked with a higher rep range. Today, if you guys don't have a chair, again, reminder, split squats, this is what we're doing. If you do not have a chair, you can have your foot on the floor or find something to slightly elevate your foot to make it more focused on the butt on your glute on that front leg. So we'll start off this first set with just our body weight. Okay, we will use those weights eventually, but you can set up here with that back foot up on the chair. We're going through normal reps, 5 of them. Okay, so join me here now. 5 normal reps, trying to get down to 90 degrees. Just keep your arms in front of you for now. Okay, so we're doing 5. And then we're going to go into 5 pulses. So I'll go down and I'll pulse for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one, we stay here, and in our heads we count to 5. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we stand. We should be burning quite a bit. We're going to switch and do the other leg now. So you guys can switch sides. We'll load up this leg. Same thing, 5 normal reps. So 2 seconds, 2 seconds, normal speed, going through 5 of them. Okay, and then we go into those pulses, and I'm keeping them quite small. But keep in mind, if you want to make these a bit harder, if I make the pulse bigger, it's going to be a lot more challenging. Okay, and then we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so you guys should be feeling that. Just with body weight, like I said, I do suggest that we do add some resistance to this. So ideally, dumbbells, okay? Now, what we're going to do today is try to get a bit more core action out of this by loading up both of our dumbbells onto one side. So if you guys have more than one dumbbell, you can put one on top of the other like this, and then hold them in one hand. And because I have all the weight on one side, this has to work a lot harder to stop me from just like falling over like this, okay? So we're gonna think about that as we go into our next set. We have 3 more that we're going to go through. We are going right into our next one, okay? So grab your weights. If you're using bands, we can wrap band around opposite foot like this, and we'll go through our first official set, okay? Let's do it. So 5 reps, again, ideally down to 90 degrees, unless you have some reason that you don't sit that low, all right? But we'll just stay consistent with all of our reps. 5 pulses, and then a 5-second countdown, okay? An honest 5-second countdown. Let's do it. This chair is sliding a little bit. Usually when I do this stuff, I push the chair into a wall, or in this case, bookcase. All right. Whew. Let's get her done, you guys. So we'll do that. First set here, both sides, same thing. Okay, the 5 reps, the 5 pulses, and then the 5-second countdown. Woo! I know this was hard with weights, or without weights rather. Now we got some weights, some resistance on here, but you can do it, okay? Just try to breathe, try to use your breath, and just get through it as much as you can, all right? We've done way more reps than this. We've done this kind of style format thing before. We know it just burns a lot, but this is the kind of burn that we can work through, all right? And the nice part about this today is that you get a full minute of rest, okay? So we're gonna take 60 seconds of rest, about 45, we'll keep it under a minute, right, that minute time point, and you have 2 more sets to do. So we just did this one, we'll complete 2 more just as we did this one here, okay? So if you use your weights, or if you use your bands, right, maybe some of you might have kept at body weight, that's completely fine. We are going to do 2 more rounds of this, but please rest a little bit, okay? Because you probably feel like you need it. Woo! We'll shake out the legs, grab ourselves some H2O, and you know, you can sit, you can stand, you can walk. It doesn't really matter so much for the strength stuff. Usually when I'm resting for strength, I like to sit, just because it's, you know, sitting feels nice, especially when you're working the legs. But it's completely up to you guys. What I will say is that you have, you know, if you stopped when about that time is up there, you have about 30 seconds until we should be starting our next set here, all right? So take a couple more deep breaths, and we will get going on our second official set. Okay, so we have 3 working sets of this one. Okay, so back into our split squats, going through our 5 reps. Okay, 90 degrees, all the way down, all the way up, 5 of them. And then we have those 5 pulses. And don't underestimate the difference in a big pulse and a small pulse, okay? That makes a huge difference if you make those pulses even a little bit bigger. Okay, but whatever you do on the one side, you have to do on the other side as well. So if you have not started your next set, let's get her going here, and we will start this party up here. Grab on to your weights, nice strong arm that's not holding anything, and we'll go through our set. The split squats, I know it's like, ooh, they burn so much starting with them, but you are like the strongest that you're going to be right now. You're nice and fresh from the weekend, from your training, that is. And so we're going to get these done. We're nice and strong in them, and keep in mind that we will be done them after this one and your last set. So one more set after this. Woo! Okay. So, majority guys, I know. So grab some water, because you're gonna need it. Shake it out. Burning legs, okay? If you're not quite feeling like what I want you to be feeling, which is like you cannot keep going once you've done that 5-second countdown, like that is it. You should be struggling to do that, okay? If you're not feeling that way, you have one more set to make yourself feel like that. And even if you did feel like that, let's try to finish a little stronger, make this last set a bit more challenging. So we'll take this rest. Woo! Think about how good we're feeling. And we'll go into our final set of these ones. Now this is our last set. Now on our prior sets, I said normal tempo. Okay, you can go a bit bigger in the pulses. But on this final set here, if you guys want to really go with a bang, you've got some time with it. What we're going to do is slow down those first 5 as well, specifically on the way down, okay? So if you want to try something a bit more challenging, okay, maybe you don't really want to do it, but you will do it if I suggest it, so this is my suggestion. What you can do is 1, 2, 3 on the way down on all those reps, okay? So rather than just sitting down and standing up, we can slow down, even go longer than 3 seconds. You don't even have to count. You can just go by feeling, okay, for those 5 reps, and see how we feel, all right, at the end. We'll just see how we feel. Okay, so you guys have, where is my timer? Yeah, lots of time. We have about 3 minutes left on this part, so plenty of time for you to do this on both sides and take some life pondering rest. Okay, so let's get it done, you guys. If you have not started already, let's start it up. Where are we? All right, there we go. Okay. Here it is. So final set. There they are, that 5-second hold. I know. Give it honest 5 seconds. Woo, we'll get it done even as possible. We'll give you guys about 60 more seconds to finish up that second side. If you are coming to an end already, you can just grab yourself some water. Woo, shake it out. Hopefully you're feeling good. And we'll keep all that stuff out and then leave that chair. Perfect. Good job, you guys. Okay, so water break. Woohoo. So moving on to the next part here. Give you guys about 30 more seconds if you need it to finish up your set and or just rest after that. So the next part we're working on is a superset. We're going to combine 2 exercises together, doing them back to back with no rest in between. We have 4 rounds total. First exercise is a single leg one, and then the second one's a double leg one. So we'll start off with this first one, which is our reverse lunges, our step back lunges. So I'm going to be using my weights, holding them on both sides like this, down by my sides, stepping back into a lunge, and then standing and driving my knee up at the top. And we're going through 12 to 15. So you guys have a range today. So you can stop at 12 or you can go up to 15. But whatever you do on the first leg, you have to do on the second leg. Okay, so I don't want 12 on one side and like 15 on the other, or 12 and 14 or something like that. Pick a number, do it on both. Okay, so let's start off right now
our first set, we want to send our hips back and upper body forward slightly so that we have this positioning of our shin, the hips back, rather than this, okay? So I want to stick my butt out rather than push my knee forward. Get that going on here. We're going to get more focus in the back and keep our knees safer. So we'll go through these starting our first set, 12, maybe 15 on each side, and then we'll talk about what we're doing with this one. For those of you who are working with kind of lighter weights, or maybe you don't have weights at all, you can loop up your band, of course, and for any equipment, you can channel your skater squats, okay? Or maybe you can even do your skater squats. You want to make these a bit harder, which look like this, where we lower ourselves down, and then we stand ourselves up without any use of that back. Make these feel a lot harder. Okay, not necessary, just optional. So we'll do that on both sides. Right side and left side. And then we're going to grab our weights and come over to our chair. Now, for this one, I'm going to band up my knees because I want more resistance around my knees so I can get more involvement on my hips. If you guys don't have a band, that's okay. You're just going to follow along with no band. But if you do have one, we're going to put it on, black band on black bands, but right above the knee here. There we go, so that it's tight. And we will hold our weights up here like this, approaching our bench or our chair so that we're standing in front of it. I'm going to sit down and just touch the chair, but not fully relax onto it. Okay, so I'm still tight in my legs, and then I'll stand up and squeeze all the way up to the top, starting from the bottom. So we want that butt squeeze to start down here, squeeze up, and we're going through 15. Okay, no range. You do 15 no matter what. So let's start it up right now. So with that band, I'm going to turn to the front so you guys can see what's happening with my knees. I'm trying to push my knees out the entire time and have that outward tension going on. And this applies for the band or no band, okay? If you don't have a chair or a bench, you are simply just squatting, okay, without the chair. But that chair is a good reference point, and it helps us focus on that contraction that we want to happen, starting from the bottom. So it just allows us to have something to kind of touch there, physical contact. So 15 of those guys, woo! Once you're done, you probably remember what I said at the very beginning. We're doing this back to back with little to no rest. So once you're done that set there, we are back into that first one we did, okay? Those reverse lunges for your 12, maybe about 15 per side. Let's do it. So we're going right back into these ones, working with that knee drive at the top. Okay, trying to exhale our way up and out of it. There you go. Nice work, you guys. Okay, let's do it. Do it. There we go. Okay. So with these ones, I would prefer you to do 12 per side and make those 12 really hard. And we're doing 15, but understand that it's hard to do that sometimes. And so that's why we have a range on this one, because I really do want you guys feeling like you don't want to do any more. Okay, maybe you could get a couple more, but they would not be very pretty, very comfortable, all right? I want you feeling extremely uncomfortable by the end of the step. So if you're not feeling that way, we need to feel that way, okay? So make yourself try to do something in that set to make it feel harder. Slowing down, again, maybe doing a bit more that skater squat channeling, where we're trying to use that front leg more. So that is the focus on these lunges, is essentially pulling ourselves up with that front leg rather than like pushing ourselves up with the back leg or anything else like that. Okay, so do them up, make them hard, and then we'll go right into our squats, where we're coming down onto that chair and then squeezing up and out of it. Now, if we want to make this one a little bit more challenging, more bands will do that, okay? So because I have these two bands here, I only have these two 8-pound dumbbells. It's not the most weight for my squat here. So I would add, I definitely have the one, but if I wanted to make it harder, then I could take this second one here and put it now below. Double bands, okay? Never need more than 2, but adding 2 has more resistance up above and below the knee. And going to make it a lot harder on your hips to keep those knees apart because the bands want the knees in. So we have to work it in here to keep them out. Okay? Woo! For the glutes. All right, 2 more sets. Get it. Lots of time. There we go. It is prickly in my sock. Okay. Woo, let's do it. 12 to 15. Lunges and then these squats. There you go. Good job, you guys. Okay, so if you really are like feeling, hopefully you are feeling that way. If you need to grab a little bit of water, the time to do it is when you are done your set of squats. So we'll try to go right from our lunges, do both legs, in the squats, get those done, okay? And then if you really need to, you can take a couple sips of water, a couple deep breaths, but then we will try our best to go right into our 3rd set, okay? Because the idea behind this one is to keep everything moving, cycling through it with less rest, all right? Which really does get that burn going, and it makes it get going more as we go through these sets, which is the goal. So keep it moving. You guys have about 3, maybe 4 more minutes left to do it up. So just enough time to get through 2 more sets if we need to do those 2. The lunges, there they are. Okay, with that knee drive, which is surprisingly challenging, also important. By driving the knee up, we bring more extension to this hip back here. If I don't drive the knee up, usually I don't quite push my hips through all the way. So by driving the knee up, we get that going on. We also get some work happening in our hip over here. So it's a little double action by lifting up that knee. That's why it's important to do it. So we'll take that into our last couple sets. Yay! Okay. All right, you guys, nice work. So we'll keep working through these, the lunges, and then squats. You got it. Okay, so again, we want to think about squeezing our butt, but not just like stand up and squeeze. This is something I like to talk about because it does make a big difference, okay? So try to really focus on it. Last set, we're lengthening, we're stretching everything in the backside through the butt. Down here, we should squeeze, and it's something that you actually have to do, like you physically have to do it. No one else can help you with it. By contracting your glutes from the bottom, we're using them as they should be used. So we will definitely try to get that going on here in the last set. And if you guys ever like cannot get that going on, if anyone is still struggling to make that feeling happen, let me know, because I have some cues and some stuff that might help you if you are struggling. That are a little bit too much to just keep, talking out on here, but it might help you specifically if you're still not getting it. So 1 more set, my friends. Let's get it. The last round, the lunges, squats, and then we're moving on. We have 1 more part to our strength. And we're hanging out on the floor as we do best on a Monday. Work our core. What is this pop-up now? Always wants to do updates like now. All right. So we'll do this last final set here. Good job, good job. All right, so you guys have 2 minutes until I will be starting the next part. So about 2 minutes, just under that, to finish this part up. And if you guys are finished early, again, you can just grab some water, walk it off. And same thing for the last part. We will need all of these things, so do not put anything away.
There we go. Okay, so final set of the lunges, last set of these squats. Okay, so we'll get you guys going on 15 reps. Okay, that takes us about 45 seconds in theory. All right, but keep in mind, if you want to go slower, it's going to be harder, it's going to take you longer, and you have just under 2 minutes. You've lots of time. All right, so we'll finish this last set, 15 of them. And this is all the squats that we're doing today. So, yay. Get them done. Final sets. Okay, so as you guys are coming to an end, finishing up, grab some water. We are going to start our final part, which is the last part of the workout, of the strength, I should say, rather. So we have the core. So for this last part here, we're going to need all of our things still. You guys can grab a little bit of water while these guys finish up. We are moving on. We've got some hip thrusts coming up. So that chair, your bench, is going to come into play. If you guys do not have a chair bench or the hip thrust variations, because there are 2 of them, you will be doing them off of the floor, okay, which I will talk about as we go, but that is right off the bat. And we're also going to be needing bands around our knees, okay? So I know you probably already took yours off from that last part, and that's completely fine, but there are 2 exercises that we need the bands around the knees in the hip thrust position, okay? So we're going to be working with a standard banded hip thrust, and then with an abduction where we're opening up the knees against the bands. So for those of you who don't have bands, it's okay, but ideally the band will make this a lot more involved in where we want it, that is, in the hips, because of where the resistance is placed. So if you don't have a band, you're just following along without one, but if you do, then put it on and come down, have a seat here, because we are going to go through these 2 versions of in this hip thrust position. So band is right above the knees. Same rules apply. You can do this first set with 1, but if you do have more than 1 band, adding a second one really does crank it up a notch. Okay, so usually not necessary, but if you want it, the option is there. We're going to get ourselves into this hip thrusting position with our knees sitting right above our ankles. That pelvic tilt, so we want to bring our ribs and pelvis together, and then we'll drive up to the top, and we're working with 10 reps where we're just simply pushing our hips up into the pelvic tilt. So I don't want to have this arched back situation. I want to take the bottom of my pelvis and turn it up towards my face. And we're doing that every single rep. Okay, so we're going through 10 of them. And then once you're done 10, we're going to hold and work with these abductions where I'm opening up my knees against the band in this fully extended bridge. Okay, in this hip thrust position, we're doing 20 of them. All right. So you guys hopefully have already started with me here. You went through your 10, and then now you can go through your 20 abductions. If you find your band rolls up your legs, like this ever happens to you, the band is most likely a bit too high on your knees, and or you can try setting it at the lower point down here, as it typically just won't happen down there. It's just a very common thing, especially with these rubber bands, and it's not very comfortable. So anyways, so we'll go through that. Again, same thing, if you don't have the chair, you are doing this off of the floor, completely fine. Working with 10 reps of the up and down, and then 20 of that abduction where we're opening up the knees, okay, through the hips. So those are the first 2. Whew, we will be back there. We shall be back there. But first, we are going to stand up and do our final one, which is going to be our step out side lunges. So we're working with one side at a time. We're doing 10 reps per side, 10 on one side and then 10 on the other side. Holding weights in our hands, ideally. If you guys don't have weights here, you can just work with body weight. And I'll show you a couple ways to make this a bit more challenging. We're going to step out into the side lunge, keeping the weights inside of our leg, and then push ourselves up to the top, moving those weights back down to our sides. So we want to move the weights in and then across, and we're doing 10 of these per side. Okay, if you want to make it a bit harder, you can, again, bring that knee drive into play here. Drive the knee up at the top. We get a little bit of balance action. You get a little bit more involvement through this side over here.
And we're going through 10 of these total, working that on both sides in these step out side lunges. Now remember, with the side lunges, we want to send our hips back rather than knee forward. All right, so it's very important that you stick your butt out and we work with trying to get that other leg straight, this one here. Okay, so you feel a bit of a stretch and then stand up to the top. Okay, so I know side lunges, they can be a little bit awkward, a little bit uncomfortable, but I will always remind you that they should not be. So if you're feeling that way, do something, tweak your stance, how wide you're standing, the angle of your feet in or out. Try to do something, push your butt out a bit more to not feel uncomfortable. Okay, they should feel maybe a little bit awkward, but they shouldn't feel like pinchy or crampy or to make yourself not feel. All right, so we'll go through those, and then guess what? You're doing it again. You guys have 3 more rounds of this very fun stuff, and we are going to go through it with little to no rest. Okay, but keep in mind, if you need to take any, you do it right now. Once you're done, before we go into our next set of those hip thrusts. Now, on this next set here, if you want to make it a bit harder, if you have weights, put them on your hips. Okay, having that resistance on the hips on your hip thrust is going to make it a lot more challenging because you're going to have more weight directly on the back side. All right, let's do it. So if I am using weights on a hip thrust, I like to load them up here, bring them onto my hips here, rather than get down there and like try to pull them on. It's just a lot less awkward. So I hold them kind of in place with one hand, and then this hand over here will help me sort of lower down and adjust. Okay, you can have one stacked on top of another, or if you want to just use one, that's okay. All right, and then we'll go through these ones and working with 10. Very important that we're doing that strong pelvic tilt. We're looking down and forward the whole time rather than up. We don't want to be looking up because that promotes the opening of the ribs and the arching of the back, which we don't want those things. So we want to close that off, go through 10, and then we'll hold this and work with that abduction, going through 1A. Woo, they burn, okay, but you have to, very important, keep your hips all the way up. So if you can't, maybe you put the weights down, right? So that you can get the hips up higher so that you don't miss out on that full extension. And I know, 20, they're really hard, okay? You can probably do 10, okay, and then they start to kind of, hips start to fall a little bit, but that's your reminder. As soon as you start to feel those hips falling, push them back up. I know it's gonna burn more, it's gonna feel more, but you're gonna feel way better at the end of the workout, at the end of the set, and in the future, when you make progress, you get in the glute gains if you actually are feeling this and doing this properly. Okay, so we'll do that. Up, both versions, and then we're back to these step out side lunges. So 90 degrees is the goal in terms of depth. I know some of us have some pre-existing knee stuff going on. So for you, maybe you don't want to sit as low as 90 degrees, and that's completely fine. But most of us, 90 degrees should be all good. It's giving me this weird update screen again. Here we go. All right. Okay, and we don't need to sit any lower than 90. We do want to make it a bit harder, trying to be more controlled when you catch that side lunge. So trying to slow down. That is always a very simple way to make things harder when we're working with the strength, is to slow it down. Okay, that's the time, about 6 minutes to finish up these last 3 sets. This one, 2 more. Okay. So you guys, hip thrusting our way through. So if you are feeling like you can't get your hips all the way up, like no matter how hard you try, you physically cannot push your hips up, probably because you're very fatigued right now because of all the stuff that you just did before this, and you're still working on gaining the strength in your hip thrust. So if you're feeling that way on the chair, come down to the floor, okay? Because doing this off of the floor is going to give you more benefit if you can't get your hips all the way up. Especially for that second one, those abductions. is crucial that we're at that full extension. When I'm saying full extension, I'm talking those hips, everything here being straight. When it's not straight, this is not full extension. When I push up, now I'm in that position here. Now I can work with that abduction. And on the floor, it's going to feel a lot more manageable than doing it off of the chair, off of the bench, whatever you guys are doing. So especially for the second part, okay? If you're not feeling like you can get all the way up and hold for the 20, so the lot of reps, I know. Try and maybe bring it down to the floor. You can even do your hip thrusts up and down there, and then just shimmy your way down to the floor for the second part, and see if that just helps you, get up more. See if you feel the difference, okay? Because you might feel, a little bit of burn in your leg, okay? Your glutes, the sides of your glutes, everything. Because not only are you opening, but you're also pushing all the way up. All right, so we'll definitely try to take that into our last couple sets. Cannot forget now. Okay, stop. Let's do is one more round. Yay. All right. And we have about 3 minutes until we should be thinking about starting our last part. Woohoo. Okay, so we'll get these guys going on the side lunges on both sides. Very nice. Okay, final round. Woohoo. Okay. This is it. The legs. Last part off of the core and the abs. Hip thrust in our way to the finish line. So we'll finish up this last set, you guys. Woohoo! Just about 2 minutes. Finish it up. And then is floor core time. And it's on a timer, which is also nice. You don't have to count your reps no more. You do have to set the timer. All right. So, here we go. Okay. Good job, you guys. Woo, 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 woo. Final set of both of these, of all of these, I should say, because all 3 of them. 10, 20, and then 10 per side. And then we are going to transition down to the floor. Okay, so I'm going to move us down here because we are going down to stay down. Woohoo! I got the flowers in the way. There we go. Okay, sorry if that made you a little dizzy. We just got a bit of a better angle down here. Okay, so good job. We are not needing any equipment. So you guys can go ahead and move everything out of the way, including that chair, your bands, your dumbbells. We are kicking at body weight for the last part here. Just us and our body. And this timer, which is set for 60 seconds on. Whew. Here we go. All right. So 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So you guys have double the amount of work as we do rest, okay? We have 3 exercises today. We are going to do 3 sets total, all right? So we're going to start off with this first one, which is a 60-second plank hold. We're gonna hold a plank for 1 minute and then rest for 30 whole seconds, okay? Sounds kind of nice, yes. In that 30 seconds, I will explain the second one. We'll do that one for a minute. I'll explain the third one, and then we repeat 2 more sets after that one, okay? So, are you guys ready? Plank hold. Now, for some of us, a 60-second plank hold is going to be extremely challenging. So what I want you to do, if that's you, if you're thinking that in the back of your head, just hold the plank, all right? Preferably with the hands separated, the parallel forearms, which helps take the upper body off of it and put more on the core. And we're gonna hold this for a minute. If you find the minute-long plank hold is not the hardest thing in the world, then I got some options for you, and I will explain them when I press start on this timer in about 5 seconds. So get down here, and get ready and get set because we are starting in 3, 2, 1, Here we go, plank hold. Now, if you want to make this harder, what we're going to work on today is walking your feet away and working in that long lever position. And we'll hold this here, breathing into it. Again, we're staying here for a minute. So if you get back here and you feel like you're not going to make it, maybe you walk back forward over top of your hands. Okay, if you're still not going to make it, you try widening up your feet. And we'll try to just breathe and hold this plank as strong as we can without touching our knees down for 30 more seconds, okay? So breathe, try to focus on inhaling, exhaling, nothing else, okay? Just holding it. So we know it's planking, that the only way we get better at it is by doing it and by forcing ourselves to do it when it's really uncomfortable and we want to stop and we feel like we actually have to stop, but somehow we can just keep going. 10 seconds left, that's you right now. Hold it, don't give up. Remember, you got 30 full seconds of rest. That starts in 3, 2, 1, and now we rest. Good job, you guys. Okay, so come on over here and flip over. We're gonna lay on our back for this next one here. Taking our hands and supporting our hips, working with our reverse crunches. So we're going to lift our legs up, and don't start yet. Okay, wait for that beat. We got 10 more seconds. But what we're going to do is exhale and lift those hips up and work with our lower back being squished into the floor through the entire time, okay? Here we go. So lay on your back here. We'll support the hips with the hands and the arms. Palms face the floor, straight legs, but you can keep a slight bend in the knees. And then we want to exhale and lift those hips up. Inhale and fill the lungs. Make sure the back stays tight the whole time. And then we're just lifting up the hips, okay? We're not lowering the legs unless you want to make this harder. Then you can lower the legs, okay? But you don't have to, and I don't want you to. Most importantly is your back down and your 2 hips coming off the floor with an exhale every breath. So we have just about 20 seconds up. I'm gonna do these. Get your hips up, all right? There you go. They're so much harder than they look. 15 seconds. So we'll try to breathe through them. You got this. Okay, so back down. Give me like one more. 3, 2, 1, and time. Nice job, you guys. Okay, so we have another 30 seconds of rest. Last exercise, which looks like this. We're going back into our dead bug, my friends. Yes, we are. So we're going to go into our standard dead bug, where we're lowering opposite arm, opposite leg. We're doing this for a full minute. So if you didn't get this in the warm-up, well, now is your time to shine, okay, and figure this one out. Same rules apply as I did explain in the warm-up. If you find you can't keep your back down with the straight legs, then you'll do this with bent legs like this. And that was your starting beat. Isn't that a nice 30 seconds there? So we are tapping into the coordination. So I don't want all the limbs moving, just those 2. The other ones stay. So it's really important that you just kind of slow down and chill out a little bit, figure that out, and then you can speed back up once you have that connection. There you go. So as you guys start to get that, what we're going to think about every time you send your limbs out, we want a strong exhale, send the arm and leg out, and push your back down. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time, but the more you can do that, the more you're going to get out of this one. 20 more seconds. See if you can get it. Okay, exhale as you send out, inhale as you come in. 10 more seconds. Okay, breathe through it. One more. 3, 2, 1, and all right, you guys. So that was our first set. We have 2 more, and then we are done. All right, so back to the first one, the plank hold. I'm in a long plank hold. I know. Does it ever get easier? Yes, it will. But we have to do it. We have to practice it and do it a lot in order to feel that way. So 10 seconds. We will flip ourselves over as much as excited as we are to do this one. Holding a plank, starting in right now. Let's go. So again, the parallel forearms, as opposed to having your hands together like this, when we're pushing our hands together, we're creating tension through our chest muscles and our shoulders in the front here. So we're actually taking some of the work off of our core and we're putting it on those upper body muscles, which is why we tend to do it, because it's just our body's natural way of making it feel easier, which is why I suggest that you don't do that. And you do separate the hands, because the harder we can make this plank feel, the more we can expose ourselves, the challenging feeling in here, the easier it's going to get, the stronger we're going to get. So try to open up the hands and work into that extremely uncomfortable feeling for 20 more seconds. I think you can do it. I know you can do it, okay? If you're not gonna make it, widen up your feet. That might just be the thing that gets you to be able to make it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job, guys. I know handhold stages, they are my nemesis. Okay, so we're gonna flip over. We got these 2 reverse crunches and the dead bugs. Now, the reverse crunches is next one here. A very typical feeling in this one is feeling lower back pain. And it's like that creepy, the pain that kind of creeps up on you as you go and gets progressively worse and worse until eventually you have to stop because it feels so bad. If you're feeling that, that is really normal in this one, which starts right now. Here we go. Okay, but if it does become unbearable, do something to make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable. You can even just work with like a leg lift like this, rather than actually lifting up your hips. Keep in mind though, that feeling that I was just explaining there, that is a safe feeling. That is happening because we're making our hips do so much work by lifting up our hips like this, that they're asking the low back muscles to help them. That's what our muscles do. They work with the opposing ones to help each other out. And so that's why you're feeling that back there. As long as it's that, again, that sort of progressive feeling, it's not a stabby, sharp, quick, acute pain, that is not so good. Okay, we want to avoid that as much as we can. Altogether, just stop if you ever feel that. 15 seconds left. But I did want to touch on that because that might happen in this one. Let's go, let's go. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and good job, guys. Okay, so the dead bug. The dead bug. This one is hilarious. Dead bug is like probably one of the most simple exercises, but it is one of the hardest ones. Not only like the core work to keep your back down and do all that, but like the brain, like the coordination. Ooh, my computer is asking to be plugged in. Okay, so dead bug, starting in 5 seconds. So get ready, get set, and here we go. Back is tight, arms straight, opposite arm, opposite leg. If you can straighten out that leg rather than keep it bent. Okay, and we're trying to exhale, inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. So we're exhaling and we're pushing our back down. I'm a firm believer that no matter how fit you are, how strong you are, how advanced you are in training, this should be a challenging exercise because you make it challenging by involving those core muscles, by doing that exhale, by pushing the back down. So no matter what you got going on, you should be feeling this a lot. 15 seconds left. Okay, let's go. And especially because of the other ones that we're doing with this one, it just makes this whole combination feel. 3, 2, 1, and rest for 30 seconds. Okay, you guys have your last set. This is it. Final round. Okay, last plank hold, last reverse crunch, dead bug, and we are finished. We are done. So get yourself into formation, ready to plank. It starts in 10 seconds. Okay, and you probably don't really want to do it, but you're going to feel amazing, especially if you do this strong. If you finish it, if you stay up the whole time. Let's see if you can do it. Here we go. Plank has started. Let's get it. So we'll try to work with a strong, straight legs, strong squeeze butt. Everything is straight in your body. And you are just trucking on through this. So breathe through 30 more seconds, you guys. We'll try our very best to hold this, especially now. This is the most important set. This is your last one. You're the most tired. You don't want to do it, your body or your mind. I know, but you are here and you just have 20 seconds left. Okay, I know you can do it. Just lift up there. Try to focus on straightening out your legs. Take a couple more deep breaths. 10 seconds. And then no more planks. What's a play? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and making it fun. Okay, so we're gonna flip over onto our back. Such a nice place to be right now. You can take a couple deep breaths laying down there. We got these last 2 movements. And we are finished. So reverse crunches starting in 15 seconds. All righty then, let's do it. Getting ready. Moving on back, supporting those hips. Back down onto the floor. And are you ready? Well, here we go. Lift up those hips. Again, trying to just work with that one spot here. We're not necessarily lowering the legs unless you want to make it a bit harder. You can also, if you're kind of stuck in between, if you can't quite get your hips all the way up, you can try bending your legs like this rather than keeping them straight, and it typically will make it feel, again, a bit more manageable and make you able to do it for 30 more seconds. But again, if you're not going to make it, you just work with a leg lift instead rather than lifting those hips up. But everybody needs to do something here. Okay, so we're not flopped down on the floor quite yet. 20 seconds work right now. There you go. Okay, a couple more. 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right, the dead bug. Okay. Last set, last one. It starts in 15 seconds. So take a couple more deep breaths. Are you ready for this? Well, get ready. Okay, lift your arms up, lift your legs up. So you're starting in 5 seconds. Squish your back down. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Last set of the dead bug. Last one. And then we are done. All right, so we'll finish strong, knowing that this is the last one. Okay, but knowing that we don't want to skimp out, we want to get everything that we can out of this, trying to finish as strong as possible the whole 35 seconds that we have left. So we'll breathe into all those reps. If we're not doing that yet, try to really lock that in on this last set here. I know it can be a little challenging with the coordination in the arm, and the legs, and the not moving, and all that. 20 seconds. Okay, most important is that back down. So make that happen. Keep it down the whole time. 10 more seconds, you guys. We got this. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you are done. Nice work, you guys. Yay! Okay, so hopefully you feel good. You're going to give you a couple of stretches to do. First one is for your butt, the back of your hips. Second one is for the front of your hips. And you probably saw both of these coming because we do them almost every week because they are important. Not only just to do like once in a while, but to do on a regular, consistent basis so that we can get the benefit out of these stretches. So we'll start off with the glute one since we're kind of down here already. I'm going to scooch myself down so that I have this, this here bookcase to put my foot up against. This is not something that you have to do, but it is something that I like to do because it just makes it feel a little bit more lazy, a little bit more comfortable. I don't have to actually pull my leg in. I can just kind of sit here and let gravity do the work, and my body do the work for me. So we are stretching. You should feel everything down this side. This ankle is bent up onto this knee here, and we'll hold this for 60 seconds. Today I am not going to hold these stretches with you. You guys are going to do them on your own, but I am just going to show them to you. And this is the first one, okay? So you have to do both sides, of course. And again, 1 minute. That is important that you're holding this for a minute. So get at your clock or watch the clock in your room, whatever you got going on there, and stay here for 60 seconds. And then you'll switch and do 60 seconds on the other side to stretch out the back side, your glutes, your hamstrings, okay? So that's important, but almost more important is the front of your hips. Now, this is one that I am constantly forcing you guys to do because it is really important to keep the front of the hips open, if not more so important than the back of the hips. Because we sit a lot, and that is just natural because of the way life is. And so you want to counteract that by stretching these out. You should feel a stretch here with that pelvic tilt. And if you want more, you can reach your arm up. Same thing here, okay? 60 seconds. So I'm gonna leave you guys with these two. Anything else that you guys wanna do, stretching out your lower back, going into something a little bit like this, is up to you, okay? So you guys are done with me. Thank you so much to everyone who came out live into the Zoom room today. You guys are all awesome. Hopefully you feel good. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow with the upper body. Have a great day, you guys. Bye. And if you watch the replay, you rock. Please drop a comment below so I know you were here. And hopefully you also feel good and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.